out, and we are recording it right now. And without further ado, let me go ahead and pass it over to Lauren. She's going to get into the Buy.com portion of the presentation. Thank you.
All right, Josh, thank you so much for having us. Again, my name is Lauren. I am one of the business development managers here at Buy.com. So today we are going to be talking a little bit about our marketplace. So just to give you a brief background about where we came from, we are located in Orange County, California. We were founded about 15 years ago. We really started in more of the electronic categories, but in the last couple years we have definitely been opening up our categories to feature more on different categories such as health and beauty, home and outdoor, toys, apparel, and have seen a lot of good growth in the last few years with those. We are owned by our parent company is Rakuten. Rakuten is probably the largest company you've never heard of. So they are the largest e-commerce company in Japan. They are the third largest e-commerce company in the world. And on the right side of your screen, you will see a couple of companies that they have acquired in the last few years, recently making the biggest bid for Pinterest. They own Kobo in Canada, Play.com in the UK, just to name a few. And so that's just a little brief background about them. If we go to the next slide, we will talk a little bit about selling on the Buy.com marketplace. So we have a lot of partners that we already work with, about 5,200 people. These are some of our largest companies that are integrated with us and do sell on the site. And basically, the structure of our marketplace is we're very similar to Amazon in that we handle everything up until the fulfillment. All the payment processing goes to the Buy.com checkout. We cover all fraud and the payment processing. And you as the seller will be in charge of fulfilling the product and then handling the customer service with the customer if and any of that is needed. Customers earn loyalty points on purchases, just another way to kind of bring customers back in with us. But I can focus on that a little bit later. We are focused on a partnership with our sellers. We are very seller-centric. We have dedicated account managers that work with sellers to help them increase their sales and maximize the benefits that we have here at Buy.com. We have a expo that we hold twice a year. The next one's actually going to be in January, and it's a really great way to work with your ECC, meet your ECCs are our account managers, I'm sorry, and really grow your sales with us at Buy.com. So if you go to the next slide, we can also talk about a little bit more about the merchant-centric exposure. So these are a couple of examples on how your sites and your store will be featured on our website. So on the top left, we have a homepage screenshot, and that's basically Layla's Pet Store, and that's the owner of the pet store featured there with his dog. And if you click into there, it'll give you some more information about that store, about who they are and where they come from, along with all the products that they sell. So it's basically your store inside of our mall. And then on the bottom left is a feature of what a really good storefront we have looks like. So this would be an example of how creative you can be and really get your name and your brand out in front of customers that you may not have already had in the past. If we go to the next slide, we'll talk about some of our biggest marketing tools that we have. One of our really great features that we have here is very exclusive to us is our Buy Mail feature. So once you start gaining customers through your Buy.com storefront, you will be able to email these customers exclusively. You can email them different promotions, sales, new products that you may be having, and you can send this email to customers who have bought products through your store already. So it's a great way to reach out to customers, get them to return back to you, and remind them that you are, still on Buy.com Marketplace and they can come to you and buy through there. If we go to the next slide, we can talk about our daily deal emails, which is a really great way to get your products out in front of new customers that you may not have already had. This is different from the buy mail in that buy mail is something that you can control. The daily deals is something that goes out to customers that you may not have already had. So you would be working with your account manager to feature products in this daily deal email. The deal email goes out to about 2.5 million people per day. It is segmented to different groups of people based on their shopping history and their search history. So you'll be focusing people that will want to buy your products. So people that have looked into tech or looked into fashion, you'll be hitting those people. And this is a great way to actually get your name out, get more customers, and then that way you can use the buy mail in the future once you have these customers through this daily deal to bring them back to your storefront. Another really good feature we have is our loyalty point program. So we have here on Buy.com Rakuten Super Points. These Super Points are really great because for every $1 a customer spends on our site, they get 1 point back into their account to use towards future purchases. This really is a great way to bring customers back to shopping with Buy.com so they can use those points in different ways to buy different products. We handle the conversion for that, so it's nothing you need to worry about. And then we also do have a lot of great different promotions that we do throughout the months with different point programs. So today, I believe if you go onto our website, check it out a little bit, we have a 10x point back on all kitchen accessories, kitchen appliances and accessories. So just one way to kind of, really get those customers coming back to us and using those points with us. And another feature that we have, I'm going to actually talk about two really quickly, is with our integration with Buy.com, you would be able to actually also integrate with our Rakuten Ichiba parent company. So what this means is you can sell internationally with no headache involved with an international sale. You integrate with us. After about 90 days of sales, you work with your account manager to feature whatever products you would like onto the Rakuten Ichiba site. All you would do is basically click a button and those products are featured in that site. You don't have to worry about any translation, currency exchange, duties, or taxes. And what happens with the shipping is once a customer in Japan purchases your products, it goes through our portal the same as you would any other customer. The only difference is you'll be shipping to a freight forwarder in Carson, California. So you won't have to worry about international rates in regards to shipping as well. We handle everything from that California address across these. So you would only have to worry about shipping to a California address, which is really nice and actually a really cool feature to get your products featured internationally. We also have a white label marketplace. So we actually run Best Buy's marketplace. This is an invitation only. You have to have a selling history on Buy.com, and you would work with your account manager to be featured on this marketplace. Basically, they pick what merchants they want to feature, but it is something that we do control as well, and it's another great way to get featured on Best Buy if in the future this is something that you're interested in. And so basically that kind of sums it up on the Buy.com Rakuten Group Marketplace. So this is an example of how one integration can get you featured into multiple marketplaces. Currently, we only work with Best Buy and Rakuten Ichiba as those integrations, but in the next coming year and a couple months or so, we are looking to open it up to, I believe Price Minister is next on the list. They are a marketplace in France. So basically the same thing as what I spoke about with Rakuten Ichiba. One marketplace you could feature on our sister companies as well in the near to next future. So that basically sums up our Buy.com marketplace. And I believe the next slide is just going to go into Solid Commerce. Yep. So Josh, if you'd like to take that away.
All right, thank you, Lauren. That was some really good information. I learned some things too, so I hope everybody else did. Now we'll get into the Solid Commerce portion and what Solid Commerce can do with Buy.com and how we interact with it. Now, the first thing we'd like to do is address why Buy.com. Lauren made some great points, and I wanted to review a few of them to let you in on some of our clients' personal experience with how some of the things that she discussed actually drive traffic and sales to sellers on Buy.com. First thing is the Super Points loyalty program. As she mentioned, they even do some deals on this, and we've heard from customers that people get pretty frantic when there's those deals where you can get bonus points. So people get excited, and they love collecting the points, and it definitely drives loyalty back to Buy.com. The email marketing, we've had customers that have gotten to participate in that and have very good success. So you definitely get good sales when you can take advantage of that, and as well as the daily deals and those daily emails from Buy.com, also very successful. So next, why now? So some of you are probably thinking, hey, this is great. I can't wait to start up early next year after I'm done with the big push here, the busy season. But here's a few reasons why now is actually a great time to start up. First one, briefly, is Buy.com does close categories as they get full. So once they have enough sellers in a given category, they will close it up for the time being. And so, you know, it's better to get in sooner while there's still plenty of availability. Next thing is to increase your revenue without that much additional effort. And that's really where Solid Commerce comes into play. Next is Buy.com, Black Friday promotion, which was on the email, but basically they're not charging any commissions or fees on Black Friday orders for new sellers. So there's more information on that email we sent out, and also at the end I'll show the flyer so you can get more details on how that program works. And since they had that offer, we also wanted to offer something. So we're doing no charge from Solid Commerce on Buy.com orders through 2012. So you'll pay us no commission on any orders that you get for the rest of the year from Buy.com. So those are some good reasons why now is a good time, but let's see how Solid Commerce makes it easy. Basically, Solid Commerce is made to manage multiple marketplaces. That's what we're designed to do. You really do most of the hard work when you're listing to your first marketplace. You're creating your items, you're listing them, you're developing your order fulfillment process. All these things need to be built out, and you list to one marketplace. But what Solid Commerce allows you to do is take all that hard work and you add a little bit of extra info, and then you can list onto additional marketplaces. That's going to obviously increase your exposure to buyers, increase your sales. So we want to help you maximize the advantages offered by our platform when you start taking advantage of selling onto more marketplaces. And that's the top portion of the slide. The rest of the slide here is just a brief overview of why Solid Commerce is such a great tool for selling on Buy.com. And we're going to go into more detail on all of these topics to demonstrate just how easy it is to get started. First, we have a complete integration with Buy.com. All your quantities and prices are updated automatically. So any change in quantity that occurs inside our system, whether you initiate it because you've got more product in stock, we'll update Buy.com and all your other markets, or if you get an order from another marketplace, we'll automatically update Buy.com with the new quantity. And then the same kind of goes for prices. If you update your price inside Solid Commerce, we're going to automatically send that off. So there's no need to do update listings or to log into multiple accounts to manage all of that. The second thing is we already have all of your SKUs in our system. And what that does is make listing easy, because we're just going to take those items and send them over to Buy.com. And you also get all your orders already into our system. So the first topic is we already have your SKUs. You can take your SKUs that already exist inside Solid Commerce, so on one of your other markets, and there's no need to add new items. There's no need to add any additional product information. And we already have your quantities, So we're ready just to push all the items over to buy.com. The next thing is listing is easy. So okay, we've got all these items already in our system, but how do you get them over to buy.com? The first way would be to use UPCs that you already have inside the system. And another way, if you don't have your UPCs, you could add them, but we can also accommodate the buy.com SKU. So you can add buy.com SKUs to our system, and we'll go find the listings for you that way. And then the last thing you need is just a price, so we know what price to sell it for. And once we have all that information, we can just push over to buy.com for you. Syncing with live listings. The main focus of the presentation today is on new sellers to buy.com, but if you're already selling there, we can bring in all your live listings into Solid Commerce. And once we've synced with your live listings, or once we've synced with your live listings, you get full control over the inventory on all the markets, including buy.com. You get that consolidated order fulfillment, and you have the ability to list more items through Solid Commerce. Speaking of order consolidation, you can use the same order management process that you already have. And the main reason that it's easy to keep your processes the same is because buy.com uses shipping methods that most sellers are already familiar with from other marketplaces. As you can see here, standard, second day domestic, expedited. So those are the type of shipping methods that they use, and since you're most likely already using those with other marketplaces, it allows you to keep your process the same. And you would go through the same procedure of printing pick lists, picking your items, cutting POs for vendors, sending orders to vendors, and so forth. And here's a detail of the custom order status. You can also use all your same custom order statuses as part of that process. Shipping also stays the same. You probably won't need any new rules when you add buy.com because once again they use standard shipping and standard shipping and expedited, and you probably already have rules for those shipping methods. On top of that, the packing slip is supported for buy.com just like the other marketplaces, and printing shipping labels through SolidShip should be the same process that you're already familiar with and you use. Now let's cover what we have in the works. We talked about listing using UPC, using buy.com SKU. Well, those will work if items already exist on buy.com. But if you have items that there's no listing on buy.com yet, you go through a new SKU listing process. And the way that works on buy.com, it's a two-step process. First, you have your new SKU file upload, which is, this is an example of that with the clothing template. So you would fill this in, you get all your basic product information over to buy.com, and then they review it and they'll approve your items. So now you got new items, but the second part of the process is to upload an inventory file, which you're going to supply a quantity, you're going to supply your price, and also your shipping rates. With our current system, we already simplify the process a little bit because we submit the second inventory file for you. You would still have to create the new items directly on buy.com, but once they were approved, you just give us a price and your SKUs, and we'll go find those items and actually send those listings live. But we are excited to announce that we began testing creating new listings through Solid Commerce for buy.com. And what that will allow you to do is streamline the process because you'll fill out a modified version of this template, but it'll just be one file. And once you upload it to Solid Commerce, we'll have not only the new SKU information, which we'll push to buy.com, but we'll also have the quantity and the price and everything else we need for the inventory portion. And now let's review the finer points here. To sum up, buy.com is a great marketplace to sell on, and Solid Commerce is an excellent tool for selling on that marketplace. We're also offering some specials right now. Buy.com has the Black Friday orders are free going for Black Friday, and we're going to extend no commission on all orders for the rest of 2012 on Buy.com. And here's some contacts for Buy.com. I'm going to leave this up for a little bit, and then once you had a chance to look it over and we're getting into some question and answer, then I'll put up the one for Solid Commerce so you can also have our review information or contact information. So now that we're done with the presentation, we can get into question and answer, and we already have some queuing up in our question queue. So I'm going to start reviewing them, and if there's any for Lauren, I'll also pass them over to her.
Sounds good. I can't see the chat, so if there's anything you want to read out loud to me, that's perfect.
I think I can pass them over to you. So.
Okay.
Okay. This is actually one for you. Let me see if I can forward it. See if that popped over for you, Lauren.
Okay. Okay, so this one says, I heard from Solid Commerce that Buy.com requires at least 100 SKUs listed in order to get through FTP. For Buy.com, we have a minimum listing requirement of 50 SKUs or 80% of your inventory. If you do only have a couple of SKUs, then that definitely is something we can work with. So I don't know if there is an additional requirement for Solid Commerce on that sense.
No, we don't have any requirement there. And that person also is saying they have around 1,000 SKUs, so it shouldn't be a problem for them. But just to review, yes, you need to provide at least 50 SKUs. So when you want to add Buy.com, you're going to want to at least have that. The next question is more for me. It's how do we send our Amazon Marketplace listings to Buy.com? So let me see if I can go back into Excel just so we have a visual here. It's this page. So really with Amazon, so long as you already have your UPCs in the system, and especially if that's how you listed to Amazon, it's very similar to listing to Amazon. We're just going to take those UPCs that you already have here, and then you just need to add a price for Buy.com, and then we can submit the file over to Buy.com. If the items exist in their catalog already, based off that UPC, we'll find them, and we'll get you on those listings. Next question is, if somebody already has their Solid Commerce account, they've got a bunch of products in our system, they want to know if they can push those products right to Buy.com, or do I have to set up the Buy.com Excel file? You'll need an Excel file, but it's going to be a very simple one. So let me actually show you. I actually have one handy. So this is actually ready to list to Buy.com, and basically we'd take those SKUs from your eBay market list, and then we'd add what type of Buy.com product ID. In this case, it's UPC. So if you have your UPCs in the system from your eBay items, we just let the system know, okay, let's go ahead and list to Buy.com using those. You can add a note, a price, map pricing, and then you also set up your shipping rates if you want, and that's it. So you do need an Excel, but it's very basic as far as the information you need to add, and most of this is not required, it's optional. So the main things we really need are the price, and we need either a UPC or a Buy.com SKU. Oh yeah, something else I should add too is when you're starting up with Buy.com as a Solid Commerce customer, of course you're going to consult with your account manager, and they're going to walk you through the whole process. So that file I just showed you, they're going to help you get started with it. You're not going to be on your own by any means. So that's another way that makes it very easy to get started is you do have help. So and this actually is our contact information. It tells you if you're an existing client and you're ready to add Buy.com, definitely contact your account manager. Or if you want some more information, and if you're not a client, you can also register on our site or call the 1-800 number for more information. But let's get back to the questions. This next one, I'm not sure actually if I have the answer for it. It's about the automotive parts market. I mean, as far as Solid Commerce is concerned, the same general practices would still apply. If it's a common part that's already listed on Buy.com with the UPC, we'll be able to find the listing and sync you with it. If it's something you're either the manufacturer of or it's not listed on Buy.com yet, then you would need to create the new SKU, and that would be through that file for Buy.com. So I don't know if Lauren has anything to add as far as if there's anything special about automotive versus other categories.
No, nothing specific. If you do have a specific question in regards to automotive, you can contact Ben Farr, that's B-E-N-F at Buy.com, and he's the business development manager for that category. So he has more specific knowledge on the automotive section.
Here he is, right here.
Mm-hmm.
Next question is, for Solid Commerce, is the new SKU and inventory listing process available now? Through Solid Commerce, it's not available yet, but we have begun testing it. So we have a few sellers we're working with to supply us with some files in different categories, and we're going to try to push those through and create some new listings on Buy.com. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Otherwise, as I was saying, currently the way you would do it is send that new SKU file over to Buy.com. Once it's approved, then you can use that simple Excel that I just showed to create the inventory sync for you, and that will get your items live. Next question is, what if our UPC isn't listed? If you don't have UPCs, actually, I think maybe Lauren can address that. So I don't know if you need a special approval from Buy.com to list without them, or how that would work.
You do, but we do have UPC exemptions that we definitely work with you, because I know a lot of apparel, jewelry, I think, are the two biggest ones that don't have a lot of UPCs with them. So basically what you would do is you would create an account, and when you're going through that integration process, you would actually talk with our launch team about it, and then from there work with Solid Commerce and our launch team together. They would give you the UPC exemption. They don't like me telling people that it's something that we do offer, but we do. So if you just ask nicely, like, hey, I don't have UPCs, then they give it to you.
Yeah, it's necessary for certain categories. Like you said, jewelry, a lot of those items don't have UPCs. So I think it's also important to probably note that if you're in a category that does widely have UPCs, you're probably not going to get an exemption.
Yeah, correct.
Next question is more for Lauren here. I see categories for a variety of consumer goods, but nothing for automotive parts.
Automotive, I don't know if the question is in regards to our homepage. If it is, I believe automotive is currently considered under everything else. It is one of our smaller categories that we are building on. So we don't have a lot of competition in that sense, like I said earlier, with the automotive parts. But if you, again, want to talk to, shoot your questions over to Ben, he is more of the expert on that. I know it is something we are growing, and from what I've seen in the past at least month or two, we've had a lot of automotive sellers come through. So I know we do have them on the site. I just don't think they're a huge category at this point, but definitely one of the growing ones.
All right. I've got a question. Can Solid Commerce generate an Excel spreadsheet for Buy.com if all the prices are the same on Amazon and they just want to use those same prices? Again, that's going to go with your account manager, but that's something that should be pretty easy to do, actually. We're just going to be able to retrieve all your items from Amazon with the pricing. And again, if you have those UPCs, we're just going to change the headers, basically, and push it right back in and send it over to Buy.com. So that's like the best case scenario right there. So very easy to do that. I got another question about the new SKU process, and just to clarify, the question was we have to get them approved from Buy.com and then list them using Solid Commerce. That's the easiest way to do it currently, again, until we finish up the testing for the new SKUs. And basically, you just submit the new SKU file over to Buy.com, and they let you know when it's approved. Once you have that, you do that simple upload for our system, and we'll go ahead and send the inventory file. Let me send this question over to Lauren. While she's looking that over, I got a question about the ETA for that listing new SKUs through Solid Commerce. Is there an ETA? I'm not aware of one. I think that's partly because there are still some questions as to how the process will go. Once we submit new items, what kind of responses do we get and how do we manage those? How do we know when to send the inventory sync file? So there's definitely some logistics still to work out, even if our first attempts start generating new SKUs, there's still, the process needs to be refined as to how the whole process will work. So.
Okay, so I think this question, authorized resellers can list the products from the catalog on the website. Example, can we show certified reseller logo? Not quite sure really what the question is. If you are certified to show a logo, then by all means, definitely. So if you want to actually send that question over to me, to my email, I can kind of do some more research and maybe talk with you a little bit more about what specifically this person is asking for. I know with certain resellers you do have to have certified to sell that logo. So send that over to me, and then we can work with you on that question a little bit more in depth.
So again, to the person that asked that question, here's Lauren's information. So if you want to just send her that question directly, she'll be able to help you.
Okay, and then I have another. Okay, so this question is about quilt fabrics. Again, a smaller category that we are building up. I believe that would be featured in our arts and crafts section. So you're looking to have a finer search result for quilt fabric. Our search, we do constantly update it. So in the past, when we didn't monitor our search as closely as we should have, we have a lot of missed products that come up in our search engine. In this case, maybe we don't have any quilt fabric that is available at the time. Like I said, a lot of our categories are currently in the building stages. So this might be something that we just don't have, or we might not have a seller that has quilt fabric in their keywords, which is something that you can work with your account manager to put in. So if you type in quilt fabric and you don't see what you want to see pop up, you can definitely work to get your products featured there. We have keywords. They are monitored more closely now, and they do have to be allowed to be put into our search, but something in this situation, I would say that would be allotted. So I don't know if that 100% answered your question, but again, you can email me. That would be my category as well, and we can work with you more specifically in that sense.
I got a question here. It's what happens to our listing if it falls below 50? And I think that's asking if your quantity fell below 50. But really what we were talking about before to get started with Buy.com FTP is you need at least 50 independent items, 50 unique SKUs. So the quantities don't matter. You could have one of each item, but really it's the number of different items that you need to submit. So you need to have at least 50. And
yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong there, but
if you don't have 50 unique products, then we just ask 80% of your inventory. So if you only have 10, then we would ask for 8 of them. So some people just sell one thing, I know too.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, that's good.
I got another question about the Amazon to Buy.com Excel file. And the question is, do we need our account manager to do that for us, or is it something we can do ourselves? What your account manager is going to do is actually help you learn to do it yourself. So process of taking what's already at Amazon and trying to get it over to Buy.com, and that's where you're going to more look at trying to pull your information out of our system and get it over to Buy.com. Okay, this is another question for Lauren. Let me pass it over to you. And while she's looking that over, I got a question: what will the Solid Commerce Commission be after 2012? Buy.com is going to be the same as other marketplaces, so it's on that tiered system where the first $20,000 of sales on the marketplace is at 1.2% commission, and $20,000 to $50,000 will be at 1% and so forth. So it's just like all the other markets. I got another question regarding fees. Is there a $500 setup charge from Solid Commerce? It depends on if you're an existing customer or not. If you're an existing customer, your account manager will go over the activation fee with you. So there will be a setup charge. But if you're new to Solid Commerce, we do have an activation and setup charge, and the fee is $600, and it includes the first marketplace. So if your first marketplace is Buy.com, that will be included, and then we charge $200 for each additional marketplace. And if you're not familiar with our system, what that fee does is it really covers the account manager. You get assigned an account manager when you start, and they walk you through the whole setup process. They train you on the system. They provide ongoing support. And even though you're looking at that fee going, wow, that's a pretty big fee, most people feel like they actually get a lot of value out of it. So most people feel like the fee was money well spent.
So I think the next question for me was the automotive question. There are listings using MFG part numbers. Can you use that to sync rather than getting a UPC exemption? That's something you're going to have to work with our launch team with, and more specifically with Ben as well, because he would be more familiar with those types of questions. So if you want to go ahead and shoot that question over to him, he'd be happy to answer that for you and work with our launch team in getting that answered for you as well.
Again, that's Ben. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for our webinar. Hope that everybody found it helpful, and I thought there was a lot of great information in there. So thanks again to Lauren for joining us and Buy.com for taking part. And we look forward to talking to you guys again in the next webinar.
Definitely. Thanks,
Thank
Josh.
you.
Thanks for having us.
No
Bye.
problem.